Next up on our list is the towns and locations that are part of the Askos region. Romania has a lot of interesting places to base towns and locations off of, but due to me getting a dry throat really easy, and due to how I kind of have a cough right now, I've simplified the map down to the key towns and locations of Romania. We'll be following this map in the order you would visit it in your playthrough of the quote-unquote game, so think of this as a short summary of the story which I'll explain in detail later. Your starting town, called Cerebus Town, is loosely based on the county of Arad in the west of Romania. There's a lot of monuments and statues dating back to the Middle Ages, so the main centerpiece of this town is a regal and majestic fountain, which has been preserved throughout the ages. There's also a rundown train station close by, where coal and other ores used to be imported in the past. You would also receive your starter Pokémon from the region's professor in this town. As you continue down the grassland route, you'll make your way towards Himari City, which is loosely based on Timișoara. Timișoara in real-life Romania is the second biggest city in Romania, so I wanted to display this in Himari City. Areas of interest would include the trainer school, a big square where celebrations are held, a church, a Pokémon rescue shelter, and a small park on the outskirts of town. You would also have your first rival battle here. Next on your journey is Stupeza City, which is based off Rosita. Your first gym battle would be here, set inside the old ruins of a castle. The city would be a mix of both ancient and modern, and there would be a steelworks in the city full of rare steel-type Pokémon you could add to your team. After obtaining your first gym badge, you can make your way towards Dubno Town, based on Alba Iulia. Alba Iulia is a historically important city for Romanians, and by extension, the inhabitants of the Askos region. Dubno Town stands out from the others, as the entire city is shaped like a star. I took some creative liberty, and made this area where a long time ago, this is where the terrible Poké Dracula was rumoured to have lived, alongside his equally evil Pokémon companions. The main buildings here would be a big library based on the Bavinium Library, and a lone abandoned castle sitting on a large hill nearby, which is said to be the Dracula's castle. This town would also be where you have your first encounter with the evil team of the region. The path now splits into two, but due to some construction work going off on the eastern path, you head north towards Travka City, which is based upon Zalao. Travka City is situated at the base of the western third of the Carpathians, and like Himari City, has a big square at the centre. Points of interest include a history museum which doubles as the gym, and a tennis court where you and your Pokémon can play tennis together for fun. As you travel closer towards the north of the Carpathians, you visit a town based upon Bistrita, called Zalaza Town. In this town there would be some old army barracks, a golden hotel based upon the Golden Crone Hotel, and a train station that can take you across the Carpathians, but the guards say that they are closed for now and won't be open until you complete the 7th gym. Once you beat this gym here, you make your way back towards Dubno Town. Now that the construction work is done and you have your 3rd gym badge, you can now take the eastern path towards Bovni City, based upon Sibiu. Sibiu is one of the most important cultural centres of Romania and is situated almost in the centre of Romania and Askos. This area has a bike shop where you obtain the bicycle, and has a large park where you can ride your bike to your heart's content, based upon the Subarini Park. The Pokémon daycare is in the city too. You would also encounter the evil team again here as they try to wreak havoc. After dispelling the situation and collecting another gym badge, you take the cable car through the Carpathian Mountains towards the next town, Herinica, which is loosely based upon Brasov. In this town, I've decided to take some creative liberty, again, and overhaul the medieval aesthetics of the max. Everywhere in this town is very medieval and slightly run down. This town is home to a sizable mountain resort, and a lake where many water Pokémon can be caught with the super rod you obtain here. After challenging the gym here, which is a haunted house, you can continue forward, and perhaps taking a water Pokémon along with you. Next up, you approach this region's capital, Lemesna City, which is based upon Romania's capital, Bucharest. This giant city I imagine to be similar in scale to Unova's Castelia City, and this city would look pretty western to pay homage to its influence. Here there would be a massive building where the region's president lives based upon the Palace of Parliament, and many streets full of shops and activities. I'd like to think that amongst the shops would be an ice cream shop where you can get a gift of vanilla items of Castelia cones, a berry shop where you can obtain many rare berries you wouldn't usually find in the region, and a museum full of all the minigames of past generations which you can try out, such as the berry blender, puffing making, Voltorb flip, and Pokemon dress up. The Game Corner games would also be here, but they won't be accessible to the player as they have to be over 18 to play them. The giant building I mentioned before would also double as the Pokémon gym in this city, which the president's wife runs. On the outskirts of town, however, is a dark mansion, blocked off by many members of the evil team. I guess we'll get back to that later. After collecting your 5th gym badge, you continue on to Moldobza town, which is loosely based upon Slabozia. Moldobza will be a very marsh-like town, full of waterfalls and small lakes. The player will have to surf around this town just to navigate it. Moldobza will also be where this region's safari zone is based, which is a lot like the Great Marsh inside of Sinnoh. A small replica of the Prism Tower also stands in the middle of the town. There's also a gym here, but the leader seems to be away somewhere. For now, you can only go north, as the path east is blocked by a mudslide impassable by your surf abilities. You travel north, crossing through Bina town, based on Foxani. There seems to have recently been an earthquake here, but the town still seems to be bustling with life. In this town is a mine which doubles as a small side area where you can catch non-Asconian forms, more on that later, of Pokémon, along with some fossils you can revive at the nearby fossil research lab. The Battle Tower would also be here, but would only be accessible in the post-game. Next, if you continue going north and catch the bus at the end of the route, you can make your way towards Netrozny City, loosely based upon Botushani. Again, I decided to do aesthetic over accuracy, so this city is very industrial and steampunkified in nature, with many factories around. One factory here of notice is a Pokeball factory, where you can buy Pokeballs you wouldn't usually be able to in regular Pokemarts, such as the Apricot Balls. Here you can challenge the Steel-type gym leader, who is the boss of the Asconian branch of Silphco. After beating him, however, you get a phone call telling you to make it towards Lemesna ASAP. With your newly acquired fly technique, you can make your way towards Lemesna once more. Once you reach the capital again, a scene has broken out. The evil team has taken over the city, and you must go in their mansion to stop them in their evil plans before it's too late. You would battle the mythical Pokémon here, which is under control of the evil team's boss, and it would flee the mansion once you defeat it. The mythical Pokémon now freed, the evil team disbands, and the day is saved. By a 12-year-old kid. After defeating the evil team, you can now make your way back towards Moldobza, whose gym leader has now returned, gaining your final gym badge. The mudslide from before has also been cleaned up, allowing you to progress east. To the east is a beach resort called Rosilla Resort, loosely based upon the city of Constanta. Here is where you meet the champion, who challenges you to travel Victory Road and defeat the Elite Four. Only then will you be worthy of battling them. After the badge check gates, Victory Road is a bit of a change of pace, as instead of being in a cave as usual, it's set along a long coastline, which spans all the way into the Pokémon League. Many strong trainers wait here to challenge you, putting all your skills to the test. As you finally defeat all the trainers, you reach the Pokémon League, which is set inside a large mountain. Every Elite Four member you beat allows you to move further up inside the mountain, which eventually leads to the very top, where the champion stands. You and them duel it out, where eventually you become victorious. In the post-game, a few more locations open up. For one, the Battle Tower is open, where you can challenge gym leaders, Elite Four, and champions, new and old, to become the very best like no one ever was. You can also take a boat from Rosilla Resort towards the Rosilla Sea, where you can explore an island full of Pokémon from other generations. That took forever, but that's the towns and locations section over with. I hope you don't mind me taking some creative liberties with some of the locations, as I think they're really cool and would fit the aesthetic of the Askos region. And as for the accurate ones, I hope I got my information correct, as I am using Wikipedia as my source for this script. Wikipedia is a good source, okay? Anyway, with that over with, we can finally talk about all the new Pokémon that exist inside this new region. In the next episode, of course.